Hello and welcome to the 2022-2023 random validation process for Title V, Part B, Rural and Low-Income Schools or RLIS, Use of Funds. First, we would like to share some things to keep in mind regarding this random validation process. Please note that documenting overall compliance for a program requirement may require several forms of documentation to be maintained locally and available upon request by TEA and/or auditors. Another thing to note is that to ensure overall compliance with program requirements, LEAs should refer to the program guide and/or other program-related resources that reference the multiple forms of documentation required to be maintained locally. In addition, keep in mind that documentation requested for submission during the random validation process may not include all forms of documentation that are required to be maintained locally. If meeting documentation is to be provided for any requirement, please consider the following. The standard meeting documentation that an LEA should maintain locally includes the following: meeting agendas, meeting notes or minutes, and sign-in sheets. Documentation for virtual meetings is acceptable. Given the increased use of virtual meeting environments, participant rosters that include the meeting title, meeting date, and stakeholder names and roles would be acceptable substitutes for the more traditional sign-in sheets. This eliminates the need of a participant signature. For this random validation, we will be looking at the use of funds portion of the Title V Part B Rural and Low-Income program. This can be found on Section 5222, 20 USC 7351A, Use of Funds. And this states, local awards. Grant funds awarded to local educational agencies under this subpart should be used for any of the following: activities authorized under Part A, Title I, activities authorized under Part A, Title II, activities authorized under Title III, activities authorized under Part A of Title IV, and parental involvement activities. So these are the only activities that are allowed for use of RLIS funds. Now let's examine some of the documentation required for this validation. So what is the documentation required? The relevant pages of the district and/or campus improvement plan. And this is the description of that acceptable documentation. The LEA provided the relevant pages of the district and/or campus improvement plan and reference the section or sections that list the program specific, and these are the programs: Title I, Part A, Title II, Part A, Title III, Title IV, Part A, or parental involvement activities implemented to meet Goal 1, which is increase student academic achievement, and/or Goal 2, which is to decrease the dropout rate. As mentioned before, for the RLIS Use of Funds random validation, the documentation required would be the relevant pages of the district and/or campus improvement plan. Issues that may result in an improvement needed status. The audible documentation requested was not submitted. Documentation that doesn't include what is included in the RLIS Use of Funds requirements. Documentation from a prior year was submitted instead of the current year documentation. Thank you for being part of this training. You can contact us for any questions related to this random validation at esasupport@tea.texas.gov. Thank you.